Hello, this is Libby from Lucky Bean Tours in New Orleans. Behind me are the Cape Knox and the Cape Kennedy. Those are United States Navy supply ships. They're vehicle carriers, roll-on, roll-off vessels that are ready to go down the Mississippi River, out into the Gulf of Mexico, or wherever else they're needed, whenever they're needed. They did serve as sort of a base camp for relief workers in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. New Orleans has participated in several wars in several different ways. And today we're going to explore some of the locations and monuments that tell the story of New Orleans at war. Okay, this first one is literally a stretch because I'm standing on a corner of Galvez Street. General Bernardo de Galvez was the governor of Louisiana during the Spanish colonial period and also the leader of the Louisiana militia, which was a Spanish militia that aided the American cause by fighting off the British at Baton Rouge, Manchac, and Pensacola during the American Revolution. Usually we have a statue of General Galvez, but it's been sent to Texas for repairs. I'm at the Shellmet Battlefield on a very windy day. This is a national park where the Battle of New Orleans was fought during the War of 1812. The battlefield is a national park that you can tour and learn all about the Battle of New Orleans. Now I am right in the centerpiece, the heart of New Orleans. I am in Jackson Square, and the statue behind me is a statue of Andrew Jackson. It's a replica of the statue of Andrew Jackson that's in Washington, D.C. And we have a statue to Andrew Jackson not because he was born here, not because he was from here, but because he was the American general during the Battle of New Orleans in the War of 1812. About 50 years after the Battle of New Orleans, we did something that we should not have done, and we became un-American and part of the Confederacy. Behind me is the Civil War Museum that gives a lot of really good exhibits about the Civil War. Memorial Hall was a library, and then in 1891 it was established as the Confederate Memorial Museum, but now it's the Civil War Museum. By World War I, we were American again, and a lot of men from New Orleans served in that war. Behind me is the Victory Arch for the men who died and who served in World War I that were from the 9th Ward. So New Orleans is a city that's divided into 17 wards, and all over the city they sort of make monuments to the men from that ward who served in the war. So this is really kind of the most impressive one down in the Bywater in the 9th Ward. It is a very impressive arch right here on the edge of a park in the neighborhood, but as typical of 100 years ago, they have all the white servicemen listed on these two plaques. And on this last plaque, they have the names of the black men who died and the ones who were in active service. Now I am in front of the National World War II Museum. It's a world-class exhibit that you really should put on your to-do list if you come here. It's about the whole war, but the reason that we have it here in New Orleans is because the Higgins boats were manufactured here in New Orleans. Those are those sea-to-land landing crafts that were used in the D-Day invasion. So we had the D-Day Museum here, and then it was so popular that now we have the National World War II Museum. The World War II Museum is actually several buildings with lots of exhibits, a couple of intact planes and boats. It would take you several days to see everything. I am now standing on the bank of Bayou St John, which is a natural waterway that runs through New Orleans. And during World War II, this is where they tested out all the Higgins boats before they shipped them out. Now I am on Canal Street in downtown New Orleans, and this sculpture behind me is Molly Marine. And under Molly Marine, it says, "Free a man to fight." This sculpture was manufactured here in New Orleans in 1943 in order to encourage women to join the support personnel of the military. It was made by a famous sculptor named Enrique Alvarez, and because it was during the war, they didn't want to make the whole sculpture out of metal, so it's actually cast out of concrete, and people donated scrap metal to just put a coating on the outside of the statue. Now I am at the Louisiana Superdome where the Saints play, but where there's also a memorial to the veterans of the Vietnam War from Louisiana. It's right behind me. We'll take a closer look. The memorial should be viewed from all sides because you can get a good look at the detail. It's up on the platform going into the Superdome. And 3 soldiers are carrying a 4th soldier, and they're on guard. Part of the memorial is these plaques that are a timeline of the events of the Vietnam War. I'm at the Chalmette National Cemetery, which is right next door to the Shellmet Battlefield. It's a United States national cemetery. It's part of the National Park Service. It was established in 1864 to bury the Union soldiers, the American soldiers who died in the Civil War, and now it has veterans of several wars. It is a really beautiful cemetery that holds the remains of veterans from the War of 1812, the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, and Vietnam. There's about 14,000 tombs out here. Here is the tomb of M.E. Kershaw from Illinois, and William Goons from Illinois. Here's another boy from Illinois, T.V. Eastman. Lyons Wakeman of New York had a secret. He was actually Sarah Rosetta Wakeman, a woman who disguised herself as a man and went off to fight for her country. Thank you so much for joining me on this virtual tour of some of the monuments and the locations that commemorate New Orleans at war.